Make sure to subscribe to Apillow on YouTube. Very cool content creator.
Let's all take a second to think about our friend, Second Thought. Or I shouldn't say friend. He's had many a bad political take. And especially as of recent, what I'm going to be showing you all today is a little worrying. So to those of you who don't know, Second Thought is a massive, massive YouTuber in the ostensibly left-wing space. He has a massive channel. He's really buddy with people like Hakeem. He's definitely in the tanky space, and he currently has 1.64 million subscribers. Massive YouTuber, absolutely. And I'm recording this now at night because I want to do this before he deletes what he has done. But let me just put it like this. Second Thought, as you can see from the title, appears to be a bit of a Nazi. Appears to have a bit of a Nazi problem, you know. Maybe that lightning bolt branding that he has going on for him. Maybe that means something. So recently he said some things about the Israel-Palestine conflict that got him in some hot water with Nebula, got him kicked off the platform, and today, as you can see, this is Second Thought's Twitter account. He retweeted something that said, as you can see, this is him, at Second Thought, 62.8k followers. This is pretty clearly his account, unless it's someone doing really good at impersonating him. He retweeted something that says, "When I was younger, I could never understand how normal, ordinary Germans could have supported, actively or passively, the Holocaust. I think I understand now." And of course, everyone in the replies has said some very weird stuff. Let's look at this account that he's retweeting. Yeah, it's a little worrying. This of course comes after he and his podcast. I believe it was just his podcast actually was removed from Nebula. That was covered by Keffels. Go watch her video. But after his podcast was removed from Nebula for this little clip here.
And Faz also thank you very much. He says, "Did the Palestinians actually take civilian hostage, or is that fake news?"
So that's not him
I don't
talking
care.
right now.
Yeah, the
That's
occupiers
I
are
don't-
not civilians.
the person with the American accent is Second Thought. Everyone else on this podcast is not American, so if a person with the American accent is Second
What it
Thought.
comes
Yeah.
down to. Like, if imagine,
French,
like if
sorry, go on.
Germany, let's say Germany to be non-controversial, invaded the United States, and they said, you know what, Cincinnati, Ohio is our ancestral home, and you know everyone knows that's blatantly false, but they take your home, they murder your grandma, they bulldoze like your neighbor's house. Are those people civilians there? No, they're occupiers, and those are criminals. That is, there are no civilians there. And
So effectively, him saying that people who are citizens of the state of Israel are all criminals, which is not a very nuanced take, especially considering the fact that these are people who have been living there for actual generations. Many of these people, of course, you know, in countries you have children. So, hey, look, if you're an Israeli child, according to Second Thought, you're screwed. Okay, you're a criminal. You are yourself guilty of the crime of displacing people just by you merely existing. So that got him removed off of Nebula, and it seems like he's just kind of stopped caring about optics, as he has again retweeted. This is him. Once again, this is his account. He retweeted, "When I was younger, I could never understand how normal, ordinary Germans could have supported, or actively or passively, the Holocaust. I think I understand now." Sorry about that, I had to cough for a second. Let's talk about the implications of this. So, I've said it before on this channel. I'm going to continue saying it. The occupation of Palestine by the State of Israel is it is an extreme issue. It is pretty much tantamount to a genocide at this point. At the same time, Jewish people are not responsible for the actions of the State of Israel. They aren't. The State of Israel is a nation. It does not represent all Jewish people at all. This is actually something that I covered in a previous video on this channel. There have been plenty of Jewish people across the world who are coming out and speaking out against the State of Israel, which as a country tries to claim that they represent all Jewish people when they do not. And I'm glad that people are being vocal about the fact that the State of Israel is not representative of all Jewish people. It is actually quite anti-Semitic for the State of Israel to proclaim themselves, to speak on behalf of all Jewish people. Because Jewish people are not a monolith. They are a group of people with varying beliefs. And claiming that the State of Israel is representative of all Jewish people leads to issues such as spikes in anti-Semitism whenever the State of Israel causes massive issues in the Middle East, as the State of Israel, which is again a country not representative of all Jewish people, does. So we've seen this recently with this most recent conflict, where Jewish people across the world, hate crime rates have spiked against them because of the actions of the State of Israel, who claims to represent them when the State of Israel doesn't. It is a dangerous line for the State of Israel to play. The State of Israel as a government, as a country, the reason why the government is doing that is because it makes it extremely difficult to criticize them. Because when you can conflate yourself with a minority group, if a nation state can conflate itself with a minority group, that is a very easy way to skirt by own criticism, by being able to say, you're just saying this because we're a part of this minority group. That is not something that people should be acquiescing to. That is not something that people should be falling for. And that is something that it seems like increasingly people are not falling for. People are not falling for this idea that the State of Israel represents all Jewish people. People are, realizing the fact that this is a dirty line played by a nation state trying to defend their atrocities by pinning the blame on a minority group who they do not represent all of. But this kind of rhetoric that we're seeing here from people like Second Thought, people who do believe that all of the people in the State of Israel are responsible for the actions of that government, that by virtue of their birth there, which is not really their fault, by virtue of being born there, by virtue of living there in a country, they are at fault for the actions of their government, the horrific actions of their government, and the historical atrocities of the State of Israel, which is a complex issue. But I'm one to argue that no, if you're like some 15-year-old kid living, I'll take me for example. If you are some 18-year-old kid, as I'm 18 years old, living in the State of Israel, you were born there, you are not responsible for the crimes of that government. If you are some 30-year-old living there, you are not really responsible for the crimes of your government. You can say, oh well, you're a part of the IDF. You were conscripted. That's not your fault. It was either that or you go to jail. What matters is what you do as an individual in that circumstance. Because when it comes to a government, especially in Israel, where a lot of people don't realize their government is extremely dysfunctional. Extremely dysfunctional. And the current person in power, Benjamin Netanyahu, is heavily disliked by people in Israel as a nation. Heavily disliked. He's only there because the other parties are incoherent in the Knesset. When we look at the situation, placing blame on the people who live in the State of Israel for the actions of their government and acting as if all of them are criminals and all of them are colonial settlers is an extremely dangerous line to pull. Especially since, one, it bleeds a lot into the rhetoric that the State of Israel likes to use. Because when you are used to generalizing people as that, it's also easy to generalize them in other categories. So, a lot of people who live in the State of Israel are Jewish. That is true. I believe a vast majority, not a vast majority, but a decent, I believe it is a majority of people who live, Israel, according to Wikipedia, is about 73.6% Jewish in terms of population. Again, that's not all Jewish people. But when you are able to make generalizations like Second Thought did in that video that we just watched, you can very easily turn that and say, well, okay, everyone, sorry about that. I had to take in my clip guard because I accidentally forgot I had removed it for some reason. Probably replaced it with different text, but as you can see, the clip guard is up. As I was saying, when you generalize groups of people like Second Thought did with saying that the citizens of the State of Israel are all criminals responsible for the crimes of their government, and some select few people who are directly contributing to the genocide against Palestinians, when you do things like that, it's really easy to move on from that generalization into this kind of generalization that Second Thought has clearly moved into, where he is actively saying, or not necessarily actively saying, but actively supporting statements such as, when I was younger, I could never understand how normal, ordinary Germans could have supported, actively or passively, the Holocaust. I think I understand now. Fathoming saying anything like that points to a very dangerous mindset. I was already heavily disgusted by Second Thought as a person, due to his seeming insistence on supporting oppressive regimes across the world, his insistence on downplaying the crimes of those regimes, his revisionism when it comes to the history of various geopolitical issues that have happened across the world, what it means to be a Marxist, what Marxism is, how exactly propaganda works, things of that nature. And especially his work in podcasts and his work alongside people more on like the Marxist-Leninist side of the political spectrum. But I believe this alone says a lot about Second Thought, that he is reposting things like this. Because the thing is, there are only so many things that you can say like that about what does that indicate? Genuinely. I want you all to think for a second what that phrase, I can't believe how people could have supported the Holocaust when I was little. I understand now. What do you think that indicates, that signals? It signals the other side of what the State of Israel does by claiming that it as a government stands for all Jewish people, which it does not. This kind of rhetoric here signals the exact opposite. It signals, one, a belief that the State of Israel does stand for all Jewish people, and two, all Jewish people are therefore at fault for the actions of the State of Israel. Therefore, as Second Thought has so graciously retweeted to us, when I was younger, I could never stand how normal, ordinary Germans could have supported actively or passively the Holocaust. I think I understand now. I don't think that Second Thought will watch this video, because I am a miniature channel compared to him. But if you are watching this video, JT, I honestly don't know what to say to you. Because I usually say things like, rethink this, go over it, really like determine what brought you to this point and get out of it, because you are down a dangerous path. But I don't think this is a path. This is a point in the path that it's really easy to get off of. If you're at this point, nothing I say can really get you out of it. It's just sad. It's just sad.